Yo, it's me. What's up? Welcome back to the podcast. I am tired, guys. I just got back from surf camp down in Coronado, San Diego. The whole family. We went down to surf camp, which I never really was privy to before. I had kids. I wasn't a Boy Scout. Didn't do any of the scouting activities, but my son is. And so one of the activities they plan every year is surf camp. You go down to San Diego, Coronado, and you're on the beach, and you get a tent, and you set up the tents, and the kids play, and they make food for you, which is great, so you don't have to do any of that stuff. But it was pretty cool. We're not a tent camping family. We're a hotel family, so this is very new to us. So we bought a tent and some sleeping bags, and went down on Friday night and set everything up, and it was a blast. I mean, they had archery and rock climbing and surfing and all these different activities for the kids. The parents just got to hang out, and we got to partake in some of them, and then at night it was just bonfires and s'mores, and the kids just literally ran and played on the beach till like 10:30 at night, and then everyone just goes into their tents and goes to sleep. Now, granted, you're sleeping on the floor. I thought I'd be sleeping on sand. It would be nice and soft. Dude, my hips are wrecked. I definitely do not need to hit the foam roller this week because I rolled it out all over the sand. I mean, my just turning, and then my wife didn't bring pillows. Like, how do you forget the pillows? What are we supposed to put our heads down on? Like the kids are one thing. They can sleep anywhere. On the floor, it doesn't matter. No pillow. I need a pillow, all right? I'm 40 years old. I'm an old man that needs a pillow. So I use my backpack as a pillow. But look, other than getting a couple less hours sleep than normal, we really did have an awesome time. That's not something I would do on my own. I've camped a couple times with some friends, and usually it was just, heavy drinking and things like that. But this was like just a blast to be able to be, and we were tired. At the end of the night, you're shot. The kids, you've been up all day. Kids are running around, running you crazy. So we really did have a really good time. And I can't wait to go back next year. I'm watching the Yankee game right now. I'm doing this on Sunday night because I got a lot of stuff to do tomorrow. But the Yankees and the Red Sox are playing at 0-0. And they split this weekend series, which so far the Yankees lost won on Friday and lost on Saturday. So this Red Sox series is huge. I love baseball's getting just really, really good now. This is the month that things start tightening up. Congratulations also to Justin Thomas on your first career major victory in golf. I watched that this afternoon. He held off Hideki Matsuyama, and played really well this weekend. I thought Kevin Kisner was going to take it. He had a really steady Eddie weekend. Thursday, Friday, and then one over yesterday and kind of gave a couple back today. So, but Justin Thomas, the guy's like probably 145 pounds and hits the ball a mile, and super nice dude. I was happy to see Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth out there congratulating him when he got off 18. So that's awesome. I'm happy. I'm going to play golf at a really nice place tomorrow, Spanish Hills in LA, at Cedric the Entertainer's celebrity golf outing. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. And then I'm heading to Huntsville, guys, this weekend. Huntsville, Alabama. Come on down. Will you please? I'm excited about this. I haven't been to Alabama. So Wednesday night, I'm going down there. I got shows Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with my friend Jessica Michelle Singleton, who will be opening for me. So we'll be heading down there this weekend. Come on out. And speaking of this week's guest on the podcast is one of my best buds, Ryan O'Neill. You know him from the Danish and O'Neill podcast. Ryan is a writer and an actor, producer, director. Him and Jeff are writing partners, and we've written stuff together for years. We did a series called Daddy Knows Best a couple years back. If you haven't checked that out, it's a fun little web series. Check it out on YouTube. We did 2 seasons of that. We also did this little thing called Knockers. That's on Facebook. We talked a little about that in the podcast. And so he's just one of the funniest people I know. He's got such a crazy sort of upbringing in Valparaiso, Indiana. And he's just a good dude, funny man. We talked about the book Fatal Vision. And I don't have the author's name in front of me. I think McGinniss or something like that. And it's crazy. It was a true story. Sort of before there was Making a Murderer, there were these murder crime novels. And this is one of them based on a true story about, I think, this 1970s, this guy, this like Green Beret sort of medical doctor lived in Fort Hood, and his family gets murdered, and, you know, all eyes go towards him. And it's just nuts. It was, look, Ryan's not a big reader, so this was a lot for him to he listened to the audiobook and we just kind of chatted about, these cases and the flaws and the things, the mistakes that the cops make, and, people mess up. So the book is called Fatal Vision, and this is my good buddy, Ryan O'Neill. Enjoy.
You may be sad today, child, all grown, moving with a hinge of grace. You may be a clown in the very underground, or just another pretty face. You may be the fake.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was camping. I slept in a tent.
Okay, was the tent provided for you?
Nope, I bought the tent. Here's how the tent process
Did you buy
went.
it down in San Diego?
Nope, I bought it when we were in New York.
Okay.
We told my brother-in-law, who's an Eagle Scout.
Why are you in my face
Because
right
I
now?
feel very... You said I did not...
You feel like I'm attacking you?
Yes, because you said I didn't camp, and I certainly did camp.
Okay, when you woke up, was there a meal provided for you?
Breakfast.
Was there also dinner provided?
And lunch.
Before you went?
In a mess hall.
Did you have your choice of what you could eat?
No.
There was a mess hall set up.
Yeah, like a big... Yeah, they had like picnic tables and stuff like that.
So the only thing you had to bring was your own tent.
Our own tent.
And how far
sleeping
from-
bags.
How many people were there?
There were about like 100 Boy Scouts. And then like, a couple, like the parents and stuff like that.
Dude, this isn't camping.
We were... How I had to set up my own tent, which I bought for my brother-in-law. He's an Eagle Scout, so he went online.
Dude, the new tent. This is.
He handed me a cart filled with stuff that was almost $4,400, and I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "All right, I can edit some of the stuff." Yeah,
dude, this isn't like you didn't have to like kill a buffalo and then skin it and then tan the hides and then make your tent out of it.
No, it wasn't like naked and afraid. It was two poles.
Yeah,
one goes this way, the other one goes cross,
and then it just pops up.
Yeah, everyone else put that thing on, the tarp part over the top. I didn't put that on.
Did you have one?
I had one, but I didn't put it on. I was like, it's hot as hell with that thing on,
dude. Once that sun comes up, you're fucked. You got to get out of the tent.
But we were on the beach, like literally on the water. So there was in Coronado, so there was like the marine layer till like 11 a.m. So. What we had to worry about was like a little bit of rain, like a little like mist while we were having breakfast. I had to run back and throw that little top part on because I didn't want all our stuff getting.
They're like, "Sir, don't worry. We'll keep your eggs warm. We'll put them under this heat lamp here."
So your definition of camping is providing your own food. Is that solely what it is?
You have to like bring it, cook it, prepare it. Do you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
everyone that we were with did say they were like, like it's great that we don't have to do food and stuff like that, or like clean and all that stuff after.
Or carry our tent from our car. They have people.
No, I carried it. Yep, we had
sleeping bags.
We bought like one of those beach carts, so we just throw everything on that. Sleeping bags.
How many feet from your car were you?
Quarter mile.
I would say. Did you walk it?
Yeah, I walked it. Twice. No, like we got there Friday, then we went to dinner Friday night. We went out to a restaurant, like
like everyone does when they go camping. Then they set up their tent.
We set up our tent.
They have reservations at a restaurant. And
we didn't have reservations. We just walked in.
Did you have to wait in line?
No, we had to wait like 20 minutes when we got there. It was very frustrating.
That is probably the roughest part of camping. Was
waiting.
You don't have a reservation at a restaurant, and then you have to sit there and wait. Dude, we got to go camping sometime.
Where do you want to go? In the woods?
Why would we just walk out?
I got to show you my tent after. It's really nice.
How many people? Is it like a 10
4
man?
person.
Really?
Yeah.
Does everyone have their own like private room with their own bathroom?
No, it's just one big square.
Oh, were there outhouses and everything? Like
There was
nice.
a porta potty, and then like if you wanted to walk like the extra.
Was it the nice porta potty though?
No, this porta potty was. I mean, like, look, it had the little side piss area, the dumper,
Yeah.
and then like a hand sink thing. But I mean, after the first 2 hours, it was terrible.
It wasn't
then
like
if
a
you walk
Star
like
trailer.
another, like 200, 300 feet, then you got to like where the bathrooms were, where the showers are, and stuff like that. We took a shower yesterday. Wait, you don't shower when you camp, O'Neill? What do you just stink
dude,
up the whole fucking woods?
Dude, some days I don't shower when I'm at home.
Exactly.
So sometimes, you know why though?
What? So that's considered camping
Cleanliness
to you?
now is over cleanliness. Maybe a contributor to Alzheimer's, man.
I believe that because you were the first person to tell me not to wear deodorant.
Did
And
you
that-
stop wearing it?
No, I still wear it. I wear the extra. I wear extra deodorant now.
Why don't you just go salt
I want
crystal?
Alzheimer's. Bring it on ASAP.
You want to forget? Dude,
Yeah.
your memory's already pretty shot.
It's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. My memory is fine.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. My memory's fine.
Did you remember to turn it on?
Wait, let me look at it. Yes, it's on.
Okay. Well, it's a little blurry at times.
Yeah, I messed it up a little bit.
Yeah,
I believe it was
the
the car accident I got into in junior year.
Is this the one that rolled over on the railroad tracks?
It didn't roll over. It just we flipped over. Not on railroad tracks. We got hit and then we flipped over twice, and then
And that's
thing-
what you blame it on?
that's what I think it was.
And then it just hit like 4 years ago.
and then like
And then it really...
yeah, when I started like a little more pot stuff, then it got a little worse. It's probably just as bad as any other 40-year-old man's. I take
I don't
on
know.
it. I take all the Rogan stuff. It's coming back. O'Neill.
But if you didn't smoke so much weed, you probably wouldn't need any of that stuff, I think.
Sure you wouldn't, and you wouldn't be hanging around with me, remembering everything. No thanks.
I mean, my mind's like a steel trap still.
Yeah, right.
Except for the occasional... When I go shrooming with Ari, I lose a little bit.
Then you go off the wagon.
It's only once a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you ever go on those trips?
Which ones? The camping ones?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, are those considered camping?
Yes.
Why?
They're considered camping.
Why are those considered camping? You don't bring your
you
own
have
food?
highlights in your hair, or is that just...
No,
me?
it's just I'm naturally blonde in the summer because I'm outside a lot.
Yeah, you got rid of the red.
No, I don't get rid of it. It just the sun hits it. The sun hits my hair and it just lightens it up in the summer.
Natural highlights.
Yeah, and a lot of it's getting gray too. What is this? O'Neill a roast of me?
What is this, the sun?
Yeah. What is this? An inquisition?
No. I mean, man.
I go on those. I would go on those trips. Ari and I do the ones like we do the ski one.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go down to Peru and do ayahuasca. But that's just to hit the reset button on our lives.
Yeah, then things
We've talked about
change
that.
after that.
Yeah, everything changes after that, O'Neill.
The ayahuasca?
Yeah, it's a reset button. It kind of cleanses everything.
Dude, you're going to be one of those guys one of the people that ends up getting raped by the shaman down there. That's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean,
It'll
honestly,
be just all dudes, and they'll be like, wait, there's no women on this trip? Looks like we're going to have to rape Steve.
so you think they go for women right away?
I think they'll look at Ari's asshole and be like,
Oh no!
Next.
I've seen that, and
Yeah.
that's hopefully what I can forget during
looks like-
ayahuasca.
that would be
my biggest fear is doing ayahuasca and then like just like starting to go into it, and then like Ari bends over to pick something up, and like I see his asshole, and it's like, and then now boom, my trip takes off.
Dude,
and it's all based on like going in and out of Ari's asshole.
Some shaman that lives in the jungle sees Ari's asshole. That thing looks like a meat grinder for your dick. It would just be like churning it. He's like, I'm staying away from that thing. That's like an escalator thing that
when they
grinds
first put like the meat into the sausage
Yeah.
maker, and the first 3 turns of the grinder,
just
what
you
comes
could
out,
see the fucking-
or like Play-Doh, like when
Yeah.
you jam it through that thing.
Oh,
It was gnarly, yeah. But yeah, we're gonna go do maybe. We say we're gonna do it. He wants to do it for like 2 weeks or go down for 2 weeks. He's like, we need 2 weeks.
What do you need?
He's like, you need we need to get acclimated to the area. I was like, you go, you take the week. I'll get there a couple days early.
Dude, that's my scariest thing. I think would be in that jungle with all the. I wouldn't be scared
What
of
jungle?
anything. Well, you go to the jungle to do it.
I fly in. I get to the hotel.
This
I go- yeah, I go- yeah,
This is ayahuasca.
Yeah. And I go, where's the ayahuasca Uber? I Uber to ayahuasca. I hit that real quick, hit the reset button, come back, and then that's good. That's good. What do you mean?
Dude, I think they like
What
march
camping?
you like 10 miles into the jungle.
What?
Well, you could do it probably a number of different ways.
I told you the way I want to do it.
You could probably just have a shaman come to your house and you could do ayahuasca in your backyard.
No, that doesn't count. I want to get out of town for a little bit, O'Neill.
Yeah, well, why don't you just go over to Azusa or something? Like just a town over.
Or meet me in a
Airbnb.
We're at an Airbnb bed and breakfast in Azusa.
I'd be like, what are you doing? What is this?
This is
This isn't ayahuasca.
Peru.
Well, I'll be interested to see how that is.
Those camping trips you guys do though, you guys make your own food?
Well, we bought a pizza the last
Yeah,
time.
fuck you. Okay.
But we did cook that night. But we also didn't go to bed, so I did set up my tent. But
I slept in a tent with Ari at Bonnaroo, and it was way more like this tent the first night in surf camp.
yeah,
I thought on the sand would be nice. Sand gets hard when you're
probably
on
have
top
to
of
like
it.
also have it
We
completely
didn't do
flat.
Didn't do any of that.
You didn't bring like a yoga mat or anything to sleep on?
We bought these like $40 pads. I bought 4 of them.
Okay.
They were like, I don't remember the name of them, but like they look like the thing you would put in the front of your car so that the reflector doesn't. You know. So you lay those down. Then we had sleeping bags, and Tracy forgot pillows.
Oh, would you use a beach towel?
First night I used like I went in there. I had no pillow. I just looked at the ground. I just started ripping stuff out of her bag and used it like her clothes.
Why do you use a beach towel?
Because the beach towels were all wet. They were outside.
Oh, man.
So then the second night I used my backpack right over here. Look at this backpack, O'Neill. Look
Dude,
at this.
you're like a young Bear Grylls right now.
Look at this. Look how many compartments this thing has.
Do you fill them up with everything?
Yep. Let's see what's randomly in one of these compartments.
What model? What is that? Is that a detachable fanny pack? Does that turn into a fanny pack?
This is
Oh, this is drug. This is the drug compartment.
Well, I didn't wanna
what are
bring-
these diet pills?
I didn't want to bring
What
pot,
is
so I just brought gummies.
gummies
Can't have pot around kids, O'Neill. Did you know that?
and cannabis oil gelatin capsules.
Yeah, those were in here.
What the fuck?
And then my wireless headphones and
my
$60
God.
in case I get. And then my clothes. I packed them all in here.
Oh my god,
Dude, this is a legit. This thing even has one of those water spigot pipes thing.
Oh, dude, those are the worst because they're so hard to clean. The Camelback.
So as you can see,
look,
I am
also
pretty proficient.
You, so you did not enjoy sleeping on the ground because after I slept those
Not
5
one bit.
days in Denver on the floor,
I thought about you.
I fell in love with it.
You did?
Yeah, I've been trying to get my fiance to get rid of the bed and to sleep on the floor with just a thin pad. Toss out the mattress.
I mean, you have carpet.
No, hardwood floors.
Oh my god!
Just get a thin mat.
That's what we had. It did not help. My hips were like.
Yeah, you got it. You got to build up. You got to
first
build up
night-
calluses on your hips in order to survive it.
Because then we had archery yesterday and surfing.
Oh, did you? How was your archery? I just did some archery in Tahoe.
I sliced my arm.
Yeah, dude. Look at
Front right here. Are you supposed to do that when you let go? It hits my forearm on my other,
every time. Well,
not every time. Like once
occasionally,
every
yeah.
like 3 times.
You know, they actually sell like a leather guard for your forearm.
I was shooting PVC pipe, like with tips at the end of it. That's what this thing was. Into like haystacks. Jackson, my son, he turned around with like the thing pointing at people.
Oh,
The lady's like,
Jesus.
stop, and she's like helping him out. He's like, I
Hey,
got it.
does this work?
I got it. And she's like, no, this is what you have to do. And he's just like, ugh. And she's like, all right, put your arm out straight and do this and do that. And he's like, ah, and all of a sudden he just like lines it up and then rips a bull's like directly in the middle. She's like, well, that was the best first shot I've ever seen.
Did he just drop it and be like, "Hey, I'm fucking out"?
Which way is the rock wall? I want to just run up to the top of that thing real quick.
My brother used to bow hunt with deer.
Killed it?
Yeah, you'd shoot deer.
What do you aim for?
You aim like right behind the shoulder.
So you don't aim for its dick.
Well, they shoot him in the nuts first to slow him down.
Someone told me
then
to
he'll
aim
stop.
for the dick right away.
Yeah. Well, the dick has to be out, so you've got to do a mating.
You got to
call
try to
get it
like
hard.
and then wait for that little lipstick to come out, and then boom.
You got to play audio of deer porn in order to get his dick out, and then you shoot the tip of it, and then hopefully the tip will stick to a tree and it can't run away. Then you go up, you slice its throat. What kind of fucking hunting?
How many
is this?
people have? This is common knowledge.
Yeah, of course. No, dude. I mean, hunting's a pain in the ass. Like then once you kill it, you gotta fucking cut it open, take all its innards. I don't like getting my hands dirty.
What if you're having a 7-day hunting trip and the first day you kill something and you're like, you have to lug that thing around with you for the rest of the week?
No, then you just get all the meat off of it and then
what?
Cook it or pack it up or dry it, salt it, turn it into some jerky.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you have 7 more days. Like, are you done after that, or
no? Then you just keep killing, dude. You just keep killing. Whatever
you just kill for fun after that? You're like, well, I got my.
It's all for fun, dude.
Have you ever killed like a?
Hold
on. Let me pause this for a second to make sure you get your lawyer first.
I once killed an animal about 6'1", 220.
You ever killed any human animals?
No,
but you never you didn't kill to eat.
We actually did. I mean, we killed our own cattle. I mean, we never went to the store to buy meat. We always had our own cows and everything.
Growing up, you had your own cow.
Yeah, we had about 120 head of cattle that we would
on the farm.
Yeah,
in Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana. And we had a lot of.
How many acres was that farm?
825.
And the hotel was on the farm?
No, the hotel was in town. It was a motel.
Real cosmopolitan.
It was a motel.
Oh, motel. Sorry, I did not want to class it up. I know you're real strict about your brand.
There's a big difference between hotel and motel.
So your family grew up on a farm outside of Indianapolis, an 800-something acre farm, but then in town you had the motel that you ran.
My grandparents lived on the farm. They eventually moved on the grandparents bought the farm in like the 60s. Mm-hmm. And then they had a Holiday Inn across the street from our motel that my grandfather and my dad owned. And then we had our motel that we lived in.
What?
That was we had a trailer.
So you lived in a room, like a regular room?
No, there's like a little apartment attached to it.
Oh.
And then we put a trailer on the back of it. So this was like a mega place. It was pretty big.
So you put when you added on to the motel, you just attach a trailer to the back, and that was the extension?
So like there was the office in the motel. You open it up, that's our living room.
Okay.
Then my brother and I had a room on the right. Then you go through the kitchen. Then there's the dining room's right when you walk in. Then the kitchen. Then the living room. Then there were these sliding glass doors, and you open them up, and there's a whole nother trailer back there.
Yeah, but you're still in a trailer. It's not like you're in a whole nother building.
Sweet.
Like
it was a lot of square footage.
God, that's amazing though. But then who went back to take care of the cattle and stuff during the day?
Or did you
have farmhands?
Yeah, there were people that were running it, and then finally they were so incompetent that we just took over ourselves. So that's the problem. It was like a 24-hour. So we had a business.
Yeah,
all
farm
businesses
is like
were 24 hours a day. So
how many? Yeah, how many?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I used to get woken up in the middle of the night because the cattle had broken out, and I'd have to fucking go out there, and we'd have to.
So your dad would wake you up and say, you got to go get.
I remember one time it was like fucking just pouring rain, and the thunder. Something scared them, and they busted through the fence, and so they were all over the highway and everywhere. And so I'm out there.
How old
drenched. Are you? Oh, I was in high school. But I mean, we used to get pulled out of school to pregnancy test cattle too. They'd be like, my dad wasn't a guy who planned ahead, so it would be like that
Paging
morning.
Ryan O'Neill. Ryan O'Neill, please come to the principal's office. Ryan O'Neill, son, you got to get in the car. We got to go make sure this thing is knocked the fuck up.
I think one of the most embarrassing moments was when I was 16 and I got the family truck as my vehicle. But one day my dad borrowed it without telling me. And he brought it back in the morning so I could drive it to school. But he built this cage in the back to hold all these sheep. Dude, and it stood about 4 feet above the cab, and it had sheep shit all over it, hay. And
in the middle of the night, he built these cages?
Yeah, so he would he had to haul some sheep like that night somewhere. And then he brought the truck.
Good business
he didn't want to get his nice truck dirty, so he used mine. And so I had to drive this fucking truck. I looked like the biggest hillbilly. There was just sheep shit hanging off the edges, hay everywhere. I got a lot of shit for that.
My dad owned a limousine service, so
drive a limo.
So sometimes, one time to drop me off at college, our biggest car that we had to be able to do it was a hearse. He had owned a hearse, so he shoved me and my friend John Calandria, that was my roommate in college. He lived near me. Just shoved our shit into the back of the hearse and then dropped us off. Pulled up to the dorm. unpack, like,
Did he have
it takes
that,
like 20 minutes to unpack your shit to bring it, and
Did he have that wheel thing that wheels out?
comes right out,
And all your shit's on there?
he would line it up because my dad's not lifting it in. Me and John are going to make trips up in that, and we made him as fast as we could.
People like, what the fuck is this guy
like
doing?
weeks later, in like the meal halls, people be like, "Hey man, did you get dropped off in a hearse?
Are you that hearse
And I'd
guy?
be like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Get out of my face." Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's weird with parents' vehicles and shit like that.
I mean, now
your dad also is not. I mean, I had the pleasure of probably seeing him one time drive past my house, but he was not. He wasn't like a businessman per se. What would you say? Was that his dream to become like a mogul of?
He was an entrepreneur. Like he had a lot of businesses. He did. He ran that Holiday Inn. And then attached to that was a bowling alley that he had. Then he had a restaurant that in town was very well known. Then he had a theater.
Yeah.
And actually, so when I did This Is Not Happening, my dad always talked about Cheech and Chong. They used to come to the theater quite a bit.
Oh, it was like not a movie
it was like
theater.
A road.
It was like,
no, it was like a it was like
okay.
a road gig.
Got it.
And so I talked to Tommy Chong because he was on the same. We were shooting the same day, and I asked him about the Bridgeview Theater in Valparaiso, Indiana, and he's like, I was just thinking about that place yesterday.
Really?
He goes, I love that place. He's like, it was awesome. He had the hotel right across the parking lot. You go to the theater. There was a great restaurant to eat at. And I was like, it was
hey,
crazy.
Tommy, do you ever remember 1985 when two young men came in there and raped you? That was me and my brother, man.
Yeah, hey. No, my brother wouldn't rape. I did all the raping. All the raping of the guests at the theater. Yeah, so I was like, holy shit.
So you and your brother and your sister work there. And
Yeah.
work at all your dad's family businesses.
So yeah, my brother and I we'd have to, sometimes we'd get woken up in the morning in the winter. This happened a lot. There'd be a broken water line. You got to go find it and fix it. So we'd be digging water and it's 20 degrees out. We'd be freezing.
Really?
Yeah, we'd have to replace water lines.
What do you explain? Like, hey, dig a hole here, look for this and this, or is like, hey, something's wrong, and now just go come back and tell me when it's fixed.
Yeah, hey, there's a water line broken. It's probably over there somewhere. Go find it.
Oh my God.
And then he would come out to check. Because he was doing other stuff too. Yeah, it was like a pain. Looking back, it was a bit of a pain in the ass to juggle all of these things.
But it did give you a lot of different skills. Not only people skills to deal with.
Completely useless until the apocalypse comes.
Look for a hole in the ground that's leaking water.
Yeah, we used to use dowsing rods.
Go find cattle and get them off the fucking road. What do you do when you go find those cattle, by the way? When you find
you
them,
got to herd them back in.
Go!
Yeah. It's tough because once they get spooked, I mean, they will run through anything.
So you're not on a horse, right? You're in a car?
I'm on a four-wheeler.
Okay.
We did have a horse, but I didn't like riding it. I don't like to ride anything that has its own brain. Like, I'm not. Dude, I've seen too many.
So you don't do piggybacks then? Is that what you're saying?
I don't do piggybacks. Zero
I don't like
piggybacks.
to ride anything that has its own brain.
I've seen these things take off with people.
I saw a horse bite a woman at Yankee Stadium.
Like a police horse?
It had the blinders on. She just walked in the wrong spot. It just went,
oh my God.
Bit her, didn't
yeah,
punch her
man.
skin. She had a jacket on, but
dude, have you, I mean, if you feed them carrots, those things got some fucking mean chompers on them, man.
Yeah. No thanks. But you didn't have to do that. You were on an ATV or whatever?
Yeah.
Just getting them all back
I'd be on an
into the fence.
ATV or we
and you
had
probably
a
had to
truck.
fix the fence, right?
We had a truck called the Watermelon Truck.
Uh-huh.
And it was just this big 4x4 that we used to plow snow with, and we would jump it, and we would just off-road in it, and we'd chase cattle with that.
I know you used to chase a couple of things. You had told me once before you chased, correct me if I'm wrong, prisoners that escaped from the jail.
There was two different incidents. Because
I guess there was a prison close to where you lived.
Yeah, the Westville Correctional Facility was about a mile away. Mm-hmm. So if the prisoner escaped, we didn't want them to break into my grandmother's house. So we would load up with shotguns and we would go try to hunt them ourselves. Our dream was to find somebody hiding on our property. This all sounds very crazy.
You and your brother would actually hope when you.
It was me, my brother, and our other buddy.
When you're getting your tactical gear together, you're like, "Today's the day, guys."
Dude, tactical gear. We always had
clear hearts,
a couple guns with us because you never knew if you needed to shoot something. A lot of coyotes out there,
and you're talking live ammo. You're not talking tasers or anything like that.
No, yeah,
bullets.
We also had we had an area called the dump, and that was where we would there was a bunch of old vehicles, and we would shoot them, and there was
when you guys went
there.
out to hunt for the for the criminal? Like, did you stay together or did you split up?
No, we stayed together, and someone would drive,
Smart.
someone would be sitting in the back. We'd check all the creeks and ditches. We'd drive around the property line. We'd cruise the country roads.
That does sound pretty amazing, though, when you think about it.
Yeah.
As far as adventures go, most adventures for kids are like, hey, I found, you heard about this porno or whatever in the woods or whatever.
Oh, dude, don't get
you
me
were
started
literally
on
looking
porno.
for fucking killers.
Yeah. Plus, the motel showed porno at night, so we had like a box of like hundreds of pornos, which I actually just threw away.
Wait a minute.
2 weekends ago.
Your job, part of your job would be to change the tapes and
No,
porno?
my dad would change it, but he would be like, "Close your eyes, kids. I got to make sure the tape is." And I'm like, fingers wide open. But
Close
I
your
had
eyes, kids.
access to all these pornos.
Dirty
then.
Asses 6 is going into the VCR.
Dude, we were just unloading because I was back in Indiana a couple weeks ago, cleaning out 3 storage lockers, and I finally had to toss all the pornos that we had in one giant box. But we found one of them actually survived. I was just unloading the pod yesterday, and it looked like I thought it was The Analyst, and I was like, "Oh, what movie is this? The Analyst?" And I realized, oh, this is The Analyst. And I was like, "Oh, I haven't seen that one."
Oh, let me pop that in.
But it was in a bunch of other videos, and so that were unmarked. And my mom's like, "Just throw it away. There's probably all pornos." And I was like, "Well, what if some of her home videos?" She goes, "All right, well, you sit and you watch all of these and see what's on them."
You have to curate all this porn and go through and see if
I have
there's
to make
anything
sure, I have to
legitimate.
make sure there isn't one of us as children during Christmas.
2 of us raising horses, riding around like a Beatles song. Like, it's your whole childhood memory between the
Yeah,
analysts.
I'm like, "Oh, I remember this porno. Oh, next tape, that's us at Christmas."
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Your mom's like, got to be just a saint to deal with all the shit. You guys,
She is.
You and your brother and your sister are all remarkable people as well. I've met all of them.
Yeah, it was weird.
They're all like, good jobs and families. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it could have gone way worse. I'm shocked one of you guys isn't like a serial killer or a train.
I mean, I think I'm the black sheep, obviously, of the family.
yeah,
we have a
not
little
even that
sister
bad. I
who
mean,
did-
you're a lunatic, but you're not like.
yeah, but I'm still like
You're on the grid, and you're.
we're all like fairly intelligent. I think that's
Yes.
the thing that saved us.
Did you guys go to
we're
school? Like, were you
idiots.
smart in school?
Oh no, I was a terrible student. Oh, dude, I just found some old report cards that I had like that I would change the letter grade on them. They were so bad.
You
but my
tried-
mom wanted to believe so bad that I was getting good grades.
So
She
you would
just
get.
ignored it.
Yeah, they would. I remember they gave us
Yeah.
a report card to bring home.
Would you remember the what did they call them? Deficiencies or the things that
yeah,
they would
probably.
send out mid semester?
Oh,
that said you were like failing.
Yes. Or,
Well, I don't know
yeah.
if maybe you didn't get them.
don't
I got them
think
all
so.
the time, so I would have to rush home, and I would have to check the mail for like that 1 week. I knew that they were coming out. I was just living in pure anxiety.
Was it like a subject or just school you did not like at all?
Just nothing interests me in school.
Yeah.
It was one of those things.
Well, look at your life in the outside world. I mean, what the hell are they going to teach you?
Yeah.
You're chasing
Yeah, what are you gonna
criminals,
show me?
running a fucking hotel. Oh, I'm sorry, motel. An 800-acre farm.
Yeah,
I'll
show you a thing or two. Teachers.
Yeah. How cool is your book going to be when I'm in the middle of the night awoken by my dad screaming about fixing a fucking pipe in the ground and getting cattle back into a fence?
Oh, well, when we lived at the motel, too, it was insane. Like, I mean, cops would come in. There was a dude who was on America's Most Wanted that was staying there at one
that
point.
came to the hotel.
Yeah.
Dude,
Dude, one of the last...
was there a murder there? There was. Oh yeah, I think you told me.
Probably, we counted them up last Christmas. I think it was about 6 people we found dead there.
Now, when that happened, was it like, hey, by the way, don't go running your mouth at school about all the dead people we find in this hotel?
Oh, my mom
Okay?
does not like me talking
This
about...
motel is our family business. It stays within our family, and please, okay, the murders stay here.
They were murdered. Most people drank themselves to death. There was a guy, he was...
I'm sorry, the suicides stay here.
In the early 80s, my brother was letting our geese out in the morning before he went to school, and he found a dude that was living in one of the trailers, and we actually found out later he had AIDS, and he had killed himself in his
my
car.
God.
So my brother found him, and he had run a hose in through the window, and my brother came in, and he's like, yeah, I think something's
AIDS
wrong
is dead
with this
in
guy.
number 4.
But it was this is right when AIDS broke, and so then my mom was cleaning out the trailer, and she's like, "You kids do not come in here. We do not know how this spreads." So she was wearing like a hazmat suit.
Oh man,
Yeah.
God.
It was I used to. I mean, last time I found one, I was in my mid 20s, I think, and my mom's like, "There's a guy staying in this room. I haven't seen him in a few days. Will you go knock on the door?"
Hey, Rai, can I ask you a question?
So I open it up. The guy's just laying on the bed, just like bloated. He'd been dead for. And I told my mom, I just opened it.
Or you open the door, you're like, creak, and then you're like,
I'm like,
Yep,
hello?
he's dead.
Well, as I'm opening, I'm like, hello, sir? Hello? Hello? And I go, well, he's not responsive. And then I think he's dead. That's what I told my mom.
did you ever find anyone choke jerking it?
No.
Which would be the way that people would go now. It's like the number one way to die now.
That would be. We didn't have a lot of closet space enough to like really hang yourself. Most guys do it in the closet because they need the bar.
Smart in the construction.
Yeah. Well, at the time, I mean, we just had smaller rooms. We still had carpet on the wall. I think it's highly illegal now, but we were grandfathered
Carpet on
in.
the wall?
Yeah, for sound deadening.
Really?
Yeah. It was like,
Interesting, I guess. Yeah, that would
it was
work.
Floor to wall carpeting.
God. Jesus.
Before we sold it, some guy had burned down about a third of it. Somebody had come to, he must have been, I think he was freebasing in there. And then somebody had knocked on the door in the office, and my dad came out. It was like 1 a.m. He's like, hey, I think your place is on fire.
Oh my God.
And so
hey,
he goes
Ryan,
in there.
Get up. You got to go put a fire
I wasn't
out.
This was only like, it was like 08 maybe.
Oh, man.
07. And so he ran in to fill up a bucket, but then the smoke got so bad he almost got trapped in there, and then he got out. And he's just like, "Fuck it, let it burn."
Were your parents pissed off when you had bad grades? Is that why you?
Oh yeah, because
But honestly, how could they expect you to maintain some sort of like normal school when all this craziness was like
well, they had high
my parents expected it because like we lived in a suburban house in a cul-de-sac area. It was like
I guess none of us knew any. You know, I mean, like that was normal.
That was
so yeah,
normal,
you would have to get. So I didn't know. I don't know what like a different childhood would be like. Like
Did your parents like read to you before bed and stuff or no?
My mom would. Yeah, my mom would. But my mom was, she was super busy. She was running the motel. Mm-hmm. My dad at the time before he was running the farm was running multiple businesses and restaurants and stuff. So and he was like us. He was out till like 3 a.m. every night. Like he had a bar and he was closed, he had to close it down, which is good though. Cause one night cause I sleepwalk and I still do now. Like I have these night terrors and I had walked, I was probably like 3 or 4.
Which probably makes camping real fun with you, right?
Well, I mean, Abby, like I have these full conversations with her where I question her like I'm like a fucking KGB interrogator
in the middle of the night.
Yeah, this happens at least once a week.
Where were you on Tuesday?
I always
Don't
say,
lie to me.
Who are you? And she one time's like, maybe I should fuck with him, and then but then she decided not to, and I was like, you probably should not because I don't know how. But I have a knife that's on the nightstand.
Of course, is that her knife or your knife?
Now I've given it to her.
Yeah,
in case
smart
she has to
move.
take me down.
Okay. I'd like you to be my wife one day, and I'd also like you to have this knife.
One time I
to
did.
probably kill me one day as well.
One time before I met her, I was with somebody else, and I swore someone was in the house, and I ended up kicking the bathroom door in because I thought there was somebody in the bathroom.
You're like that South African runner, that Oscar Pistorius or whatever, but you're just going to kill yourself.
My nightmare is that I sleepwalk and kill somebody.
You probably will be yourself.
Well, hopefully.
You're definitely not going to kill her. She's too smart. She'll get out of the house, but you may end up murdering someone else unintentionally, but you'll definitely end up killing yourself.
I can't have like guns near the bed.
But you do, and that's the good part. But you do. I had you on the podcast because number one, I think you're one of the funniest people that I know, but also your fans are incessant, O'Neill. I'm telling you, every week I get called a fucking loser, a fag. Hey, what's up, fag? You won't have O'Neill on the podcast? I'm like, first of all, that's terrible.
I love when you're not on the podcast.
Yeah,
People are like, think that I'm
banning you from You had Danish on. Why aren't you having O'Neill on? And I'm like, why are you? First of all, none of this makes any sense. And why are you getting mad at me? I'm like, I'm trying to have him on. He just can't read.
I just don't read well. This is why I got bad grades in school.
Yeah.
I did not read well at all. So now I listen to audiobooks.
Okay, that's fine. That counts to me.
Yeah. So I was originally going to come in here and do a review of It since the movie's coming out in the beginning of September. But so this audiobook for it is 45 hours long. It's a bit of a. I'm 28 hours into it now, and it's getting very repetitive, and it's very hard to push through.
Is it because like 28 hours?
I'm 28 hours in. I still have 17 hours to go.
Oh my!
Which is like a whole other large audiobook. But 45 hours. It's insane. So then I decided let me do something else. So I listened to Fatal Vision.
Fatal Vision.
It's a true crime book, very popular. It's about a crime that happened in the late 70s. And that I thought would be also right up your alley. It's about a guy who kills his family.
What? Why would you think that was right up my alley? I love my...
Because
I told you, I just went camping with them, O'Neill.
Yeah, I know.
True camping.
But this guy had it all. Charismatic guy.
This is in the 70s?
Yeah, this is in the 70s.
Okay.
He was
This is
like
a true story.
This is a true story. Yeah, yeah. This is like this book was like Making a Murderer decades before Making a Murderer. Like this was like the case. It went on for like 10 years. They were trying to get this guy arrested.
Where did it happen?
It starts out in Fort Bragg, and this guy is a Green Beret physician. He's 26 years old. He's like this good-looking, muscular dude. He went to medical school at Princeton.
Sounds a lot like me.
It's like you when you're
Can we get the
26.
rights to this guy? 27, just like me.
There's some other areas.
Super handsome.
There's
doctor,
diet
Princeton.
pills that play into this and stuff too.
Oh, really?
There's a lot
All
of
right.
vanity.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
All right. So then this guy ends up while he's on the military base one night, he calls the emergency service there and says, "Send somebody. My family's just been attacked by some hippies who were screaming, 'Acid is groovy, kill the pigs.'" And the operator's like, "Well, did this happen on base?" And he's like, "Yeah." She's like, "We have to call the MPs." So he just hangs up. So some time passes. He finally calls the MPs. They get there, and his wife has been clubbed and stabbed to death. He had two little girls, both of them clubbed and stabbed to death as well. Him, he had some minor abrasions on his head, claimed he had been clubbed also. But he also had some puncture wounds on his body, but they were very strategically placed. And they didn't go that deep. One was just enough to like give him a minor collapsed lung. He claims that he
Not that deep.
Well, but it was like to the point where you
if I'm
just
stabbing
pierced
myself
it.
to go, I'm going to go like a paper cut, O'Neill.
Dude, that's what they were. He was claiming he'd been stabbed 26 times and beaten with a club. He had a minor mark on his head, like a minor thing. He claims that he had been, they'd been beating him with a club, and the blows, he'd been defending himself with his forearms. No problem. There was no injuries on his arms. Meanwhile, his wife her arms were broken in two places. The kid was broken. One arm was broken in two different places where they were like trying to deflect the blow. And he claims that some chick in a floppy hat and three dudes came in yelling, "Acid is groovy," and killed the pigs.
Acid is groovy.
And then in blood, it was written, "Kill the pigs," in blood on the wall. But upon further examination, somebody had written it in blood wearing rubber gloves.
Oh.
So this,
Like
okay,
Dr.
so
Rubber Gloves.
we don't know. Maybe.
Does this guy have like bruises on him that like or like marks on him that he was attacking someone else? Like sometimes, you know.
Well, yes. So there was a mark on his chest that looked like a scratch.
Are the MPs like, what the fuck? Like there's no video of. Oh,
This is in the 70s.
This is 70s. Yeah.
This is late 70s. And so there were marks. There's like a scratch, what they later determined was a scratch mark on him. Mm-hmm. And he also had, he also told the EMTs, he's like, "There's a knife. If you find my fingerprints on a knife, it's because I pulled it out of my wife's chest."
What?
Yeah.
He said that?
That's what he said. This guy's arrogance and his hubris was insane. So there are so many moving pieces to this story. But then also, we'll find out later that maybe somebody did do it. Maybe it wasn't him.
Yeah, because why would you kill the pig? Like, did he have was he on acid himself? Did they find drugs in the system?
No. Well, so also they lived in a tiny place. Nothing was disturbed.
Did there were Christmas cards. Pigs?
There were Christmas cards on the table that weren't even knocked down. They said if there were that many people in this fucking room waving clubs around, stabbing people, the place would be trashed. Nothing. There was a table that was overturned, which they later put the table back upright and knocked it over themselves, and it was like a stage scene. It landed on top, like laid upside down instead of laying on its side. Like it was so top heavy that if you knocked it over, it would flip all the way over.
Yeah.
The Christmas cards were there. There was a vase that was knocked over.
Even swinging would create air that would knock them
also,
over.
if they had a club, they brought a club in there and they tried to hit the. It would hit the ceiling.
And
Very low
like
ceiling. But at the time, there was articles about hippies like taking acid. You know, they used to say there's like satanic cults and shit.
Yeah,
but then there was
Charles
never
Manson.
Yeah, there was never like any satanic cults that were sacrificing people.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of like razor blades and Halloween candy.
Yeah,
there was like never a documented
people.
case. Yeah. But this guy was like, he was well liked.
So is there a trial now? Did they arrest him?
So at first he's not a suspect.
What?
Yeah, they're like, because he's this Green Beret physician.
Okay,
he's respected.
What
people on the campus
kill them?
or people in the base like him.
Yep.
Also, weeks before, he had been reading an article in like, I don't know, Vanity Fair or something about people taking acid and killing people.
He told the police that?
No, he told his buddy weeks before. He's like, "You got to read this article, man. This is crazy."
Oh,
in the article, one of the quotes was like, "Kill the pigs." One of these people said.
Oh man, he did the research and did it.
Yeah, but there's also
step one, right? Kill the pigs on the wall.
Also, she had been killed with an ice pick. He claims he didn't own an ice pick, but people that had gone over his house said, "Yeah, I used an ice pick all the time at his house." So I don't know what this guy didn't get a lawyer during the interrogation. He's like, "I have nothing to hide. I'm going to go in there." Meanwhile, also he was in the hospital forever, and he just kept talking about like what a horrific thing it was, how he had to fight all these people. Didn't really talk about the family a lot. Just kind of asked about one of the girls here and there, and they're like, "It seems kind of weird." He also claimed he had all these injuries, and they looked at him. They didn't even fucking treat him, other than the collapsed lung. They didn't stitch him up. They didn't have to do anything. He claimed he'd been cut 26 times, like fending off these knife attacks and these clubs.
You get hit by a club, you get to break your arm or your
Dude, a guy who literally bashed one of the little girl's heads in with one blow, crushing her skull. You're gonna tell me that guy took it easy on you?
Yeah.
So then they interrogate this guy, and this is like the most damning thing of all time. So, by the way, this book is narrated by Christopher Reeves.
Oh, the audiobook is done by Christopher Reeve.
And this also, I will just give a disclaimer, this is the abridged version.
Yeah,
it was the only version that I no, the audiobook was the abridged version.
Abridged version.
It's the only one I could find. So, but Christopher Reeves, by the way, amazing fucking narrator.
Yeah, how does that work, by the way? That makes a difference, I'm sure.
Oh,
right?
It does, man. He was doing like, also, I forgot how great of an actor he was, because he was doing the full interrogation. They read through it all, and he was playing this dude. Jeffrey McDonald is the guy's name, and he like was a totally different character. It was great.
That's good.
So then they go in, they start asking this guy about, and there's this whole million holes in this guy's story, especially the ice pick he claims he didn't have. But here's the problem. All the evidence against this guy was totally mishandled. He was wearing like pajama tops and shit. They got thrown away. There was no fingerprints of any of the people. The guy who was supposed to take fingerprints of the little girls, he had gone to the mortuary to have it done, but he said they'd already been prepped, for burial and the funeral and everything. And he said that they looked so angelic, I couldn't disturb them, so he didn't even take the fucking fingerprints.
Oh, these are the people that must work on the OJ trial too. These fucking idiots,
dude. His trash. Somebody had taken out the trash already. A few things the EMTs had fucked with, like they told not to touch anything. But
is this specifically because it's military police?
No, this is just pure incompetence.
Wow,
dude, the things that happened for this guy, like what a lucky fucking. It was like 50 fucking issues. Like they lost blood. They didn't even have.
So if you're him though,
Do you have to bank on these people fucking up as well, or do you?
I don't think
this
he had
is
a
all,
plan.
I mean,
think
I don't know if
just
he did it yet, but
well, yeah, we don't know yet. But also, all the
if he
kids.
did do it, he's then obviously hoping that all these things are going to have to fall through the cracks. I mean, that seems very,
By the way,
short-sighted to me.
whoever killed one of them killed him in a room and then put him in a sheet and dragged him out into the living room. Also, from the club, there was fibers all over the house. Like someone had been dragging this club around. Like it's amazing the shit that they find. Like
The
they
club
find
was there?
tiny club fibers. I can't remember if they found the club.
Is that in the abridged
I think
version?
one of these. I think the club even got thrown away. Like all this shit somehow got tossed, and so they basically only had circumstantial evidence on this guy. They didn't have any, they barely had any evidence, but his account of what happened is the most ridiculous fucking thing.
What did he say?
First of all, he claims there was 4 people in there, a lady with a floppy hat, then 2 white guys, and then a black guy who was wearing a military type uniform.
Any black guy that's militant in the 70s is not hanging out with 2 white dudes and a chick.
And a hippie chick?
Yeah, and a hippie chick.
Unless this is some like weird gangbang scenario.
Yeah, it doesn't sound. None of this makes any sense. That those 2
Also,
guys are.
It was dark. He had been sleeping on the couch. He'd fallen asleep on the couch.
Okay.
And he
In his
claims
pajamas.
that he had woken up, and these guys were standing over him and they just started clubbing him. And
Got it.
so, but keep in mind, lights are off, but he somehow was able to see this guy was wearing a uniform. It's supposed to be pitch black. How could you even tell who was in there?
Yeah.
Then he claims they clubbed him. I think he got knocked out. Then when he woke up, he heard screaming, and like his wife had been stabbed and clubbed to death. The 2 girls have been stabbed and clubbed to death. But there's weird accounts.
Did they take any money? Did they take any?
No, it was just pure
No sexual-
acid. No, just pure bad acid trip is what he was claiming. But there was so much time between when all this shit had happened that he's in there like since he's a physician, he claims that he went into like doctor mode.
like trauma.
So he goes in to check on the daughter. But he goes in there and claims that he tried to give her mouth to mouth, but there was blood bubbling up where she'd been stabbed like in her lungs or heart. Turns out she wasn't even stabbed in the lungs or heart.
Really?
Yeah. And also he didn't say he turned on the light.
This is his excuse for like why my blood and DNA or whatever. Probably not DNA back then, but
it's
it's all
the
over
place.
everyone.
But also his hands were clean. So he claims that Dr.
He washed
Mode
his
said
hands
it,
after before he
claims
called
that he was washing his hands after examining each fucking victim, his wife, the kids. He claims that's just what doctors do. I was in that mode.
Oh man.
And then he calls the emergency, claims this happened. She goes, you have to call the MPs. He doesn't call the MPs for like 2 or 3 more minutes. You would think that would be your immediate, I'm going right to the MPs.
Yeah.
And this is why it would be very hard to get away with anything, because it's the minutia that you would probably remember if you were recounting an accurate story. But he forgot things like he didn't say, I ran into my daughter's room, turned on the light, and checked on her. So he basically was saying that he was in pitch dark, seeing blood bubbling up from her lungs and examining her.
Yep.
But if this was a real story, you'd probably be like, I ran in there, I couldn't fucking see a thing. So I flipped on the light, and there she was
I
dead.
flipped on the light. I want to make sure no one else was in the room going to attack me. I saw that she was laying on the bed. I ran over there. Yeah.
Those are the little
Did
things.
they ever get like what would be the benefit of him doing that? Like was there a life insurance policy? Did he get
No.
into fights with the wife all the time?
No. It turned, I mean,
Or the kids not doing well in school?
no, claimed it all was great.
That last one would be real rough.
Kids no. So later we'll find out a possible motivation. He was also just a sociopath.
Okay.
Like none of this shit bothered him really. Like they said he was like so unaffected by this. It was insane. And so this examination it starts building like this just more like, why would you lie? Why would you say, yeah, I own an ice pick? They found it. But so then they finally, these investigators that are on the military base, they bring it to a military trial. And the father-in-law, of his wife.
And this dude's on trial for murder.
Yes. So they're like, we're charging him. There's enough bullshit here that we think we can get him with circumstantial evidence. But so the lady's father, his father-in-law, loves this fucking guy. He goes, if I had another daughter, I would want her to marry him. Like, this guy's fucking hook, line, and sinker. This guy's the greatest guy in the world. He could never have done this. So the guy the trial goes on, and there's just not enough evidence, and he gets off.
What?
He gets off. They also find a girl who someone had seen wearing a floppy hat, who does do a lot of acid, who claims she can't
remember where she was that night?
She didn't know where she was that night.
They found a woman to go, I wear floppy hats, I do acid all the time, and
She
I
was
don't remember
a
I was
drug
on March
informant.
11th.
She was a drug informant, and this guy's like, she's a very reliable person, but they didn't charge her with anything because there was no evidence that she was there. But then this guy gets huge notoriety. He goes on late night talk shows.
John McCain? Is this the story of John McCain? It's holy cow! I didn't know. I know he's a war hero. I had no idea that he murdered people.
Yeah,
Wow.
so he gets off, and by the way, he's just banging chicks on the base while this trial's going on.
What?
He's just banging all these.
They're
chicks.
talking about that too.
Yeah, there was they interviewed a chick, and she was like, he was very handsome and had a great body,
man.
and he was the most exciting thing on the base. Dude, he went on a fucking.
Do you see what a good body will get you?
It's
Do you see what it just having a little bit of discipline, not eating whenever you want, whenever you want it, and committing to the gym.
You can murder people and still fuck.
You can get a wife, get her pregnant, have those kids, murder all that whole community,
Yeah.
and then still, while you're on trial for being a murderer, fuck other chicks.
as long as you got abs.
As long as you got like a 6-pack.
So
And a hard,
So now
stiff
this
cock.
guy's like a fucking celebrity. He's going on late. He's recounting all of the fucking.
Do people feel
things.
bad for this dude? Like, oh, I feel bad that this guy can't find the murderer.
And he does the OJ thing where we're gonna find out who
God.
did it. But now his father-in-law starting to get a little suspicious. He needs to keep his father-in-law on his side. He doesn't want this father-in-law, but he realizes nobody's looking for the real killer. And he wants he also has not read what the interview with the fucking the interrogation that his son-in-law had gone through. So finally, after a while, he gets a full 100-page copy of everything, and he fucking scours this thing. And that's when he goes, this motherfucker did it. And he turns on this guy. He fucking turns on this dude, and he's like, I'm bringing this guy down.
Wait, but wasn't there a trial already?
Yeah, but he's like,
Trial?
I got nothing but time, man. I'm going to fucking find a way to bring this guy down, to bring
Double
another
jeopardy.
trial.
You can't get...
If with new evidence, though, you can. Took him 10 years, but he brings him back to trial. Meanwhile, in that amount of time, this fucking psycho, Jeffrey McDonald, calls the father-in-law and tells him, look, me and some of my Green Beret buddies tracked down one of the killers, and I don't want to say too much, but we don't have to worry about him anymore. So he claims that he assassinated this fucking guy with his Green Beret buddies. By the way, he was a physician, Green Beret. He was doing clerical work and taking blood and shit. Yeah. These other guys were real war heroes and
Oh, man.
real Green Berets. So he claims that he was out there hunting these guys down just to keep the father-in-law.
I like him now. I'm on his side.
At bay. So the father-in-law starts digging, and he gets these other cops involved, these other detectives. And so they start building a case. Takes them 10 fucking years. Dude, this goes up to the Supreme Court. Because, this goes all the way up. This goes through all the local, in order for the Supreme Court.
Are people probably bitching because this guy's been tried already? He's been, you know,
He's also been on
let
late
go.
night talk shows talking about the trauma that he had been in. He also had the biggest piece of shit attorney of all time.
What, the military police attorney?
No,
first time?
he got his own attorney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this guy was like a scumbag just like him. And this guy they finally parted ways at one point because he got this guy an interview with a magazine, but then the guy realized that maybe the lawyer had profited off that and he didn't. And he's
man.
like, I gave all this information. Now how am I going to fucking sell a book if this article comes out and gives all the good stuff away?
Gives all the murderer stuff away. I can't keep that for myself. I'll just have to go out and murder more people.
Dude, fuck. People fucking love this guy. So now he's 35 years old. He's living in Long Beach. This is in the 80s now. He's got a $350,000 condo on the beach. He's got a Maserati.
Which is a lot of money back then.
Yeah. He's got a fucking boat, and he's living the good life.
Is he still doctoring it up?
Yeah, he's still a fucking doctor in Long Beach, making a ton of cash. And so finally, they bring this back to trial. like they do a grand jury. They bring this guy on, grand jury. They just want to interrogate in front of these. But this guy is fucking. The jury hated this guy so much. They said he was such a fucking asshole. It was all everything was about him and all the problems that had happened and like how this had ruined his life. And it was never about like the wife and the daughters or anything.
Oh my God.
So they finally go, all right, there's enough shit here.
Let's see it. Yeah, let's do a trial.
And so they go through this long trial and he ends up getting convicted.
What?
He ends up getting convicted.
Now he's in a regular court.
Yeah.
A regular judge, not military.
Yeah. But this is all after like, dude, they literally go, so the lawyer says it's double jeopardy. Then they say there's new evidence. They overturn that finally after they go through like multiple appellate courts and then it goes up to the Supreme Court. Then the guy says it violates his right to a speedy trial since it's been 10 years. They say, fuck that. Finally, one court says he's right and you can't try him. Then they go up to the higher court and this is going on for fucking years.
They want this guy.
Yeah. So they finally arrest him and he's being held at like a prison near Long Beach and all his buddies at the hospital for his birthday, they hire a fucking plane with a happy birthday sign and his name on it to fly over the fucking prison. And they're all paying his mortgage on his condo, paying all his docking fees on his yacht because they're like, he's going to get out, man. He's the coolest
this guy doesn't
ever.
murder everyone.
By the way, he's been fucking chicks nonstop this whole time.
Of course he has.
He has all these hot young girls.
He's like Don Johnson.
Yeah. He also, so then I think he gets out of fucking jail. Like they somehow release him. And he goes and buys another condo up in Mammoth Mountain, finds this young hot girl, gets engaged to her. And then, because I think they got something overturned, and then he's out for like a year, and he's with this hot chick. And so he finally gets it. He finally gets put away for good. Three consecutive life sentences.
What? They found him guilty for 3 consecutive life sentences.
The judge gave him the max.
For killing his wife and his 2 daughters.
Yeah, finally. So while he's in jail, he hooks up with with the author of this, who actually just died.
No way.
He died 3 years ago. John McGinniss is the author, or Joe McGinniss. Sorry, Joe McGinniss is the author of this book.
I was hoping that you were going to tell me like he was in Mammoth just chilling out, and then all of a sudden like the father-in-law showed up and just killed him.
No, but the father-in-law kept threatening the Justice Department. They're like, look, this is going to get taken care of one way or another.
Really?
Because when he was in that prison, oh yeah, that's what happened. The lawyer had negotiated that until sentencing and all this had happened to let him out on bond, on bail. Mm-hmm. And that's when he bought a place in Mammoth. And he's out for like a year. Meanwhile, his mother is like, I think he was fucking his mother. I don't know.
God.
Because his mother was around, lived with him all the time, was always nearby.
Oh.
At all times. She like loved him.
Yes.
And like she probably knew he did it.
He could do no wrong in her eyes.
So then he's rotting in prison. Meanwhile, he wants to get a hold of Robert Redford because he thinks he'd be a great guy to play him in the movie. Yeah,
what
he wants to write a
hubris on this
screenplay.
fucking guy.
He's writing a screenplay of his life story.
I love this guy.
And so, but this is where it gets weird. This is where the author's like,
this is where it gets weird.
So then. Meanwhile, throughout all this 10 years, they keep going back to the girl with the floppy hat who does a ton of acid. And at one point, she confesses to killing these people.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
Confesses. But
Acid
they also
is
think that
crazy.
his lawyer was strong-arming her. But she was also just nuts. But she, at times, she went on a fucking talk show and admitting to killing all these people.
That's what I'm saying. Like what
Yeah.
acid's crazy.
I don't know,
you
man.
believe that you killed people.
Yeah. She was just strung out. She then ended up dying shortly after she had gone out and confessed on a
So
on a
does the book
television
make
show.
you believe, like maybe, like somewhere in the back of your mind, it could have been that crazy chick with the fucking hat, or you were just like 100% the whole time,
Maybe.
just waiting for justice to be served?
There is that. It's not like making a murderer. You're like, oh, Stephen Avery probably didn't do it, but it casts doubt. And the other thing, when they're looking for motivation, the author starts talking about how this guy was very vain, and he had joined the boxing club on base, and he also was running a weight loss program, and he was getting all these guys on diet pills. And this guy, he lost an enormous amount of weight in a very short amount of time. So they thought he may have been like triple dosing in these diet pills. And if you take too many of these diet pills, you could get psychosis.
Really?
Yeah. So what he speculates might have happened was he'd been taking all these for weeks on end, taking these diet pills, maybe starting to lose his fucking mind. And his wife and he got in a fight, and he probably hit the wife and then got a club
Shut up.
and then
Boom.
beat her and stabbed her.
And then the girls
then realized what he'd done. It's like, I have to cover this up. I'm just going to kill everybody and stab myself.
Oh.
So part of you is like, either way, that's not an excuse for what
Step
he did.
one, you're like, oof, okay.
Yeah.
Killed that wife out of rage. I'm not
Now what the fuck?
I'm not saying that's, you know,
But to kill the
okay,
two little
but then,
girls.
yes, to turn around and do that.
But
is
if you're
different-
fucked up on, and you imagine 1970s diet pills,
yeah, there's like
there's like
Dexatrin.
methamphetamine in there.
There are class action lawsuits you see all the time.
Yeah.
For all that stuff that they were
Fen-phen?
given. Fen-phen. Tracy's mom was on Fen-phen for like 10
and that was
years.
the 90s.
Yeah.
Back then, they were just taking like narcotics.
That was it. It was just like cocaine, just in a smaller version.
So he could have lost his mind. But I think what it was, in my opinion, I think it was just a multiplier effect of a dude who was a psycho anyway. I think, and then he would put him on drugs, and he probably had a real bad temper. And he claims he was like so in love with his wife. That's where the title of the book comes from. He's like, she was the greatest woman I ever met. And then he called her at the end. He said she was a fatal vision.
Oh my God.
So you put a psycho in there who's probably, he was banging other chicks on the base. She was probably giving him shit about that.
That's probably
he's
what
like,
happened.
fuck this. He's already on edge because he's probably doesn't sleep. He claimed that like life was great. He'd been spending more time than ever with the family. Meanwhile, they looked and he was working like 12-hour days and just applied for like another shift at another hospital that was like 10 miles outside of town.
Really?
Yeah. So he was just, I mean, the lies that he told, it was just lie after lie. If you listen to it or read it, it's very fascinating.
When
because
did you
there
read
are
it?
So many twists and turns. I listened to it on the way back from Tahoe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
just
when did
on
you? Is that
Thursday.
the first time you read it?
Yeah. I want to go back and re-listen to it again. I recommend listening to it. I mean, I'm not a reader because I can't grasp how people get joy out of reading because it's such
Why?
a labor. Because I'm
Oh, yeah.
dyslexic, so
Yeah.
it's so labor intensive
for
me.
you. Yeah. You're like, this is not enjoyable. This is like
Not at all.
balancing on a fucking tightrope for
It's like a job.
8 hours a day. Yeah.
It's like it's a chore.
Yep.
So now I just do audiobooks.
That's good.
Yeah.
And you find it better to comprehend.
I mean, I still drink. I listen. When
What
I'm
are the
driving
chances
and
you
I
get
drift.
through it? Like you could.
Oh, I will. I mean, I'm 20. I'm so invested now.
Yeah, but you're only halfway.
Well, yeah, I'm like 2/3 almost.
Okay, but
I'll finish it. I will finish it. But dude, that's 45 hours to recap.
that's insane, dude.
I don't know.
Go
I don't
see
know
the
how I'm
fucking
gonna do
movie.
it. I can't see the movie now until I find out how the end is. What
my
happens at
God.
the end? Because
You never saw the movie when we were kids growing up? The
Yeah.
one with John Ritter and was it Tim Curry? I think was in it.
Yeah, it's just sad about Tim Curry. You see, he had that. I didn't know he had like a stroke.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like in a wheelchair. He can barely talk.
Oh, I thought he
it was
was-
a couple years ago.
I thought he passed away.
Oh, did he die?
Oh man, do we
No.
have to look it up?
I think. Well, I know that he had that. He was great as it, but the movie overall was like, it was pretty shitty.
Yeah,
I mean, it was pretty boring.
I'm looking up if Tim Curry's still alive. This is terrible that we don't know this.
Are we supposed to? Is there going to be a test?
No,
about
but I
this?
always feel bad if like you're talking about someone who's dead.
Yeah.
Tim.
I know that he's been off the market for a while.
Well, maybe.
I think he had a stroke.
Nope, he's alive.
Did he have a stroke?
It doesn't say.
It's tough when you see a guy, especially like him, because he was like such a performer. The singing and the dancing,
Yeah.
all the shit.
Thank you for doing the podcast, man.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
You're one of my favorites.
I was gonna take notes, but I was like, dude, there's so many twists and turns in this, and then I get lost when I'm reading.
Yeah, fuck notes.
But it's definitely worthwhile. And I
What's
think
the name of it again?
Fatal Vision.
Fatal
Been around
Vision.
for a long time.
Okay.
And I think he ended up doing another follow up where before he passed away, he went and visited the guy
This guy-
because they became friends.
Is he still alive?
I believe he is.
Rotting away in jail?
Yeah, they moved him like to
What happened to the
Texas
new
or
wife?
something.
She's just...
Oh, she left him.
Wow.
They were engaged.
They always do.
And she's like, all right, I'm out of here.
I'm done.
Yeah, she
I
found
thought,
some
I
other
thought you were
dude.
just crazy killer, crazy on the loose killer guy. No, I can't be around a jailed up killer guy. No, thanks.
But yeah, this was like, it's weird because when I was listening to it, I was like, this is like Making a Murderer. Like
Yeah.
this, it's the predecessor to it.
The book is called Fatal
Vision by Joe McGinniss.
Joe McGinniss.
Well, I guess he wrote a bunch of other shit too. It's true crime. It's a fascinating. Let me see if McDonald is if this dude is still Jeffrey R. McDonald. Let me see if he's still
If you're listening to this, by
he's
the
still
way,
alive. He's in his 70s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
If you're still listening to this, by the way, you're remarkable. But also,
Why do people usually cash out?
I have no idea. O'Neill's got a great podcast. Some of you are probably familiar with it already. With our other friend Jeff Danis, called Danish and O'Neill.
Yes.
At one point, it was called Boner City USA. It's gone through different.
That was a
stages.
completely different.
It was a different
one.
podcast,
Yeah.
but still, it's one of my favorites to do. You guys are lunatics. You do have a rabid fan base,
Yeah, it's
and they'll be
fun.
very
It's
happy to hear you on this. I think.
It's a good show. Take a listen to it.
What days does it come out?
It comes out every Monday morning.
Every Monday, and
Yeah.
it's part of the All Things Comedy Network as
Yeah,
well.
we were on there and watch the go to the Facebook and go to Knockers TV.
Oh yeah, go check out the Facebook page Knockers. Just put in Knockers in Facebook.
Yeah,
KNOCK.
I think Knockers TV. Otherwise, you get the first thing that'll come up will be just a picture of huge tits and bikini tops.
Just look for me. And I'm wearing a horrible goatee and 2 earrings. So once you see, but
should
no,
bring
that's
that
not
back,
Steve.
though.
That look was pretty.
By the way, your hair is exactly how we want. Remember, we tried to get the lady to put highlights, and she forgot to bring the stuff.
Yep, this is how we want. We wanted like frosted tips to
Yeah.
make it more of a douchebag. But it's a really funny sort of series that these two knuckleheads, Jeff and Ryan, directed and I starred in. So check it out on Facebook. Check out their podcast. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thanks. And maybe one day when I finish it, I'll.
Yeah, in about 3 years when you're done with the book, on audiobook, the 500th hour.
I was gun ho for the first like 17
You'll be my
hours.
500th guest. Number 25 and number 500. We'll have a good time mark as to when you fucking finish the book.
But yeah, this was fun, man. This is a great idea for a show.
Thanks. I appreciate it. The book, check it out. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
How long will I slide or separate my side? I don't believe it's been slitting my throat. It's all I am. I heard your voice through a photograph. I thought that I've been brought up the past. Once you know you can never go back, I gotta take it on the other side.
That was the hilarious Ryan O'Neill. Thank you very much to him for doing the podcast. And please, to all his legions of fans, you happy now? You got it? All right? Good? Now leave me alone. Please stop yelling at me and calling me names. Thank you. Let's talk about stand-up for a second. I've got some dates coming up. Not only am I in Huntsville, Alabama this weekend, September I'm going to stay in Los Angeles and work on my material. And then October 5th, 6th, and 7th, Portland, Oregon, at the Helium Comedy Club. October 5, 6, 7. Come on out. I love that city. Like that club a lot. Good people over there. And the following weekend, I'm in Winnipeg in Canada. Oh, say, can you see Canada? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, October 12th, 13th, and 14th. Winnipeg, Rumors Comedy Club. Get some. We'll freeze our asses off together. November, San Fran, 2, 3, and 4. Coming to Cobb's. All right? I did that weekend last year. It was a big, big success, so going to do it again. And then the following weekend, I'm in Bellevue, Washington at the Paula Live. The Paula. I've been there many times, and Ruben's always been wonderful to me.
and then Chicago and another city to be added in December. So tickets are on my website. Come see me live. Tell me how much you enjoy the podcast. Tell me what you don't like. Write me about the podcast. Hear me this book at gmail.com, steverannazzisi.com, at Steve Rannazzisi on Instagram. I love you guys. I'll talk to you next week. Later.
Centuries are what it meant to me. A cemetery where I marry the sea. A